The stream, am I coming through? I think so. Welcome back to the stream. Happy Monday. This week we are going to be working on Alchemortis. Can you imagine that? It's a surprise. Quite a difference for what we've been doing the past couple months and years. But anyway, I have some specific work that I want to finish up today. I have a new character, which I'm going to show you because it's going to be hard not to show you. So I'm just going to finish that up on stream. We'll show you what that guy looks like. And then I do have to do some playtesting. I haven't really done any playtesting of any of the new systems. So we might do a playthrough of the game and just see how everything's feeling. And so, yeah, we'll see. That probably will take up the majority or all the stream time today. So, yeah, we'll just get right into that stuff. But before we get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wish listing now. Check out the Steam page. It's been updated recently. I think it's pretty cool. The new Steam page makes me want to buy my own game, which is great. The only thing that's missing now is a new trailer, but that will be coming. All the screenshots have been updated, the descriptions, everything. So check it out. If you're interested, give it a wish list. I would appreciate that. You can also join the Patreon if you want to support me. I'm entirely self-funded while I'm working on this. So every little bit helps. If you subscribe to Patreon, you will get ad-free videos, early video access. I've been posting some Patreon exclusive content recently. One video I go over how I create art for my game, and more specifically the cathedral piece of art. I just uploaded a video yesterday of me playing my game Swordslinger. I've also been doing some sort of code review-esque videos where I just kind of like explain at a high level what's going on with some of my code. So if you're interested to see that, you could subscribe. But also, if you subscribe to the sponsor tier here, I'll send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So might be a good idea to snag that before Alchemortis becomes the next big indie hit, because then your name could be in the next Stardew Valley, huh? Anyway, and then you could also purchase my Udemy courses. The links for those are in the description below. So yeah, those are all the ways you could support me. And I guess we could be done with the ads for now. Hello, Arn Genesis. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Clickertail, welcome. Hello, Vifin. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Itjoy, welcome back. OMG years. Yeah, it's not been quite over 1 year for Alchemortis, but I've been streaming for a while now. Hello, Marcos. Welcome. How many months in development are you now? A year and 2 months. No. Yeah, a year and 2 months. The game is on track to be finished in just under 2 years. Well, not just under 2 years, like a year and 3/4 almost. Yeah, a year and 3/4, under a year and 3/4. So we'll see. We are like the release date of Alchemortis is now expressed in months, right? So, let me think. Yeah. I mean, the tentative release date, I mean, I still reserve the right to not release it if it's not ready, but I'm pretty set on it being ready. I think it basically is ready, honestly. It just needs more content, and it needs everything to be tightened up and balanced very nicely, and like for the progression system to be meaningful and all that stuff. But I think it's there, just about. Hello, Malicious Rabbit. Hello, Emerson. Good morning, good morning. Exciting, yes. Yes, indeed. Okay, so what was I doing? I need to make a bounding box component for the character. Right. So I was working on... That's not what I wanted. So I've been making some improvements to the character select. So I've added a 5th character, the Lich. And the Lich is basically done. I just need to add an unlock condition for him. But this character select screen, I had to work on this a little bit, and I think I still need to figure something out. But I've got this fancy new tool button which arranges my character platforms for me. So if I just move this guy over here and place it there, I could come to the root node here and click this arrange characters button, and that puts it all along this arc very nicely. So I don't need to I don't need to do that myself. Problem is, as more characters get added, what are we going to do about that? We'll have to figure that out. And there's some problems with this screen anyway, but oh, maybe not. Well, so the problem was with the label. The label should be below the platform, but if it goes below the platform, then the necromancer text goes behind the priestess. So that's not exactly great. But anyway, this is the new character. This is the Lich. Let's select the Lich here. The Lich just starts with some undead items and a skeleton commander. There's one new artifact, the Soul Jar. Allied items with empty ability slots gain innate damage when spending a resurrection stone. And then he starts with the Soul Lantern, where he gets a resurrection stone every 75 blood spent. So those are the Lich's starting artifacts. And I think he's pretty cool. I think his animations are a little bit weird, like they need a little bit of tweaking, but I actually borrowed some code that I was using for the corrupted tentacle effect. So I don't know if I really showed that one, but let me see, corrupted tentacle. So this corrupted tentacle here, this is a line 2D that has some stuff applied to it, some math applied to it to make it curl around. So this tentacle sprouts out of items that become corrupted in alchemy, just as a little visual effect. And so I took that code and modified it for the Lich. I need to reset the transform here. I took that code and modified it for the Lich. For these little ribbons, I call them Lich ribbons, but for these little ribbons here. And so those behave kind of like tentacles. They're like, they wave a little bit, they curl around. So I think it's pretty cool. It just adds a little bit of extra flair to the character. So I think the kind of strategy that I'm taking for all the characters is, number one, this is something that I've learned just from like watching GDC talks and stuff, but every character in your game should have a unique silhouette, right? So you should be able to tell the characters apart just based on their silhouettes. But then also what I'm doing is I'm giving every character just sort of like a unique like prop, I guess you could say. So the necromancer has the lantern, the priestess has this like magical orb thing. The courier has, of course, the giant vial of liquid. Brittle Bones here has a moth flying around. And of course the Lich has the staff. But also part of making the Lich have like a unique silhouette was the tentacles. Because if he didn't have the tentacles, he would look pretty similar in terms of his proportions to the priestess. So by adding the tentacles and the staff, I guess the staff adds a little bit to it as well. But the tentacles definitely change the silhouette quite substantially. So anyway, there you go. And we have to finish that out. Where's the meta progression at? The meta progression is it's just unlock based. So it's all based on like completing certain challenges. There's no meta progression currency. I just need to add more unlock conditions to various aspects of the game. And that's going to be a little bit tricky because I need to finish a lot of the content before I have a lot of the unlock stuff. So, but it's there. The Lich is making it in, not just surviving, he's thriving. He's moisturized in his lane, or whatever the saying is. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. That's very much appreciated as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With the message, Yummers. Welcome back, Snupbill. Always good to see you. That's neat. Thank you. Return that slab. Is that a reference I don't get? Return the slab. I don't... How many hours per day do you work? Lately it's been probably like 8 to 10 hours. I've been staying up way too late. I was actually up until 2 a.m. last night working on this. I was out all day, spending the day with family and with my wife and everything, and then when I got home, it was like 9 p.m. when I got to work at my computer, and I just worked for 5 hours. I worked from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. So I try to work as much as possible, but anyway. Can't wait to try unlocking the characters in future playtest. Yeah, one goal for the next playtest is to make all the unlock conditions a lot more difficult, because people, I almost said complained. People commented. I didn't mean complained. That was like the wrong word. People commented that the unlocks were too easy and that they were just getting them without even trying. And so I'm almost going to go too far in the other direction for the next playtest. I'm going to like crank up the numbers quite substantially. And then what I'm hoping to hear is like, hey, these unlocks are too hard to unlock. And then I can just like dial it back a little bit more. But I'm going to do a big crank up in the difficulty of unlocking things. Because I might be surprised. People might say, oh, that feels really good. Like, you know, that amount of unlock progression required is really fun. It made me want to keep playing and unlock it. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh, right. Right. I think I just saw a reference to this the other day. Wasn't it there like there was like a lich or some kind of spirit out in the yard or whatever. It was like Return the Slab. Yeah. Gosh, that was a creepy show. Hello, Bartshi. I'm just getting into Godot and I love the channel. Awesome. Welcome. Glad to have you here. And I'm glad we have another initiate into our Godot cult. Welcome. So anyway, so that's everything that I've been doing. The Lich, it's actually surprisingly straightforward to add new characters to this game. Basically, I just need to draw the character, which probably takes the most effort. And then I need to animate them, which takes the second most amount of effort. But actually getting them into the game, into this screen, and like giving them their starting artifacts and whatnot is like super easy. Basically, all I need to do is I create a custom resource for the character, and then I assign all the data, so like the name and the flavor text, the starting health, the starting resurrection stones, the starting cards, and the starting artifacts. Then I link the character scene, which is the actual like visual scene for the character. I put the platform decoration texture there. I can change the starting board dimensions. And then it's just a matter of coming in here, creating a new character platform, which is a scene. And then I edit the character platform to point to that definition, the character definition. And that's it. That's basically all the steps required to add a new character to the game. Of course, I have to add unlock conditions for them as well, but it's pretty straightforward, which is nice. But I am having a problem here, which is that the selectable character scene here, this is a clickable control. So this is a control node that can apply the outline shader to everything. What this does is this actually, this infers a bounding box based on all the sprites inside of the character scene, which worked fine until I had the Lich, which has tentacles, which are not sprite 2Ds. So if I do editor only, if I uncheck this and I go back to character select here, we can see that the characters have very nice bounding boxes around them. And the bounding box idea was basically to be able to center the character in the unlocks menu by just taking the bounding box and centering that in the UI. Of course, the problem here is that this bounding box is offset to the right too much for the Lich, and you can see that the text here, the text position is based on the bounding box position. So the text is centered basically around the bounding box, which may not be ideal, but it looks fine in all of these cases except for the Lich. This is very obviously like too far over to the right. So rather than try to like update my bounding box method, which basically just gets all the descendants of type sprite 2D, and then it just takes the sprite texture size essentially and adds it to this big rect2 bounding box. Instead of doing that, I'm realizing that I need to instantiate the character anytime I need the bounding box anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to create a bounding box component, add it to each character scene, and then just manually set it, because I don't think there's any reason to actually derive that. I guess I was just trying to save effort, but... So anyway, I'm going to create a new reference rect here, and this will be called the character bounding box component. I'll put scenes, component, save. So character bounding box component, I think that's basically it. I'm just going to change the mouse to ignore there. I guess this probably doesn't even need to be a component, because I don't think I need a script here either. Well, let's just try this. I could make this a tool script. Will that work? Let's try it. We don't need this. Export tool button. Private callable dot from on tool button pressed. This is generate bounding box. On tool button pressed, we're basically going to say var bounding box is equal to editor interface dot singleton dot get edited scene root dot get sprites bounding box. And then we say position is equal to bounding box dot position, size is equal to bounding box dot size. Let's change this to custom minimum size actually. And then we'll say size is equal to vector 2.0. Alrighty, let's see if this works. And then I'll catch up on the chat here real quick. Let me just close. I like to close, if I'm adding a new tool script, I like to just close everything that relies on that tool script, build it first, and then I can reopen it. So I go to my character lich here. Does this work? Oh my gosh, it worked first try. Look at that. So I can use this for the happy path to generate the bounding box automatically. But then I can go in here and I can tweak this. So in the case of the lich, what I would need to do is move this over a little bit. And then I can change the size here. And it doesn't need to be perfect. I can just kind of like, and it might be easier if I make this. This is kind of annoying. Turn off active, change that to reset. I might just shift this over one more and then do that, I guess. Oh, the minimum size isn't changing. Oh, this needs to be rounded to int as well. Okay, well, let's just do 2941. I need to round those. Is this size really 40 by 40? Copy this value, paste this here. So there's my bounding box. Let me just do this before I forget. Round to, or I'll just do round here, round there. All right. Hello, Ninja Link. Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. How was your weekend? How was everyone's weekend? How do you save the player? Player's unlocks. Let's see. There's an unlock model here. So basically, like, what you can do with C# is there's system.text.json that allows you to declare JSON property names for your various properties here. And then you can just split things into models. So basically, I'm creating the save model. This is the overall save. This is the structure of the JSON file. We've got the version in here. We've got the global statistics. We've got the unlock model, and we've got the run save model. So these are all like top level keys in the JSON. So unlock model will be a key in the JSON, and we go here. And then I store all the individual unlock models here. So we got character unlock model, card pack unlock model, so on and so forth. To determine if a character is unlocked, there is a sort of like a pipeline, I guess you could say, of like when the run finishes, it pipes through all the statistics of the game to like a priestess unlock script. So there's an unlock script here. And so this check condition, this is an overridable function that if it returns true means that it was unlocked. And so I can just put my unlock logic in here. So anytime I have an unlock, I basically just extend base unlock, give it a particular name that matches the unlock resource that I also configure. And then I just return true or false out of this method here, and I get a bunch of information passed into this, so I don't need to like reach out to anything. I just have all the data I need to determine if it's unlocked. And then if this returns true earlier on in the pipeline, or like at a higher level in the pipeline, it will just iterate over all the unlock conditions, and for everyone that's true, it will mark it as unlocked in the unlock model. So this card pack unlock model, for instance, or let's do character unlock model. That's just a dictionary with the character ID as a key, and then the like just true. I actually wonder, do I need that? I wonder if I can make this a hash set. Does C# serialize hash sets to just like JSON arrays? Well, the other thing to keep in mind too, though, is that I probably want it to be human readable, a little bit more human friendly. So if I'm debugging a save issue, I can read it pretty easily. This form is easier to read than if it was just in a like flattened list. Anyway, so that's how it works. Do you have a good starting tutorial that you learned from, or did you use a series of resources? I feel like I've been searching around YouTube and I've seen a lot of videos, but it's a lot to digest. The way I learned Godot is basically through trial and error, because I picked up Godot back in 2017 when 3.0 alpha, so we're on 4.6 now, almost 4.7. Back when the 3.0 alpha was being tested, that's when I got into Godot, and there wasn't a whole lot of resources, especially not for like how to do things in Godot 3.0. So I basically just learned by like, yeah, I looked up resources, of course, but I remember a lot of my learning being just like bashing my head on the Godot editor, like trying to figure out why something didn't work. So yeah, I just kind of like learned by doing for the most part. But it is a lot to digest, but you know, I think maybe a more easy to digest way of learning is to start off with a goal that you want to accomplish, like getting character movement done, and then just try to figure that narrow part out on your own by like reading the documentation or looking up like very specific tutorials. Because you're going to find tutorials for basically everything in Godot. And so if it's overwhelming to just like try to find a tutorial, don't like try to invert the process. Instead of starting with finding a tutorial, start with the goal that you want to accomplish, and then look up like very specific tutorial resources for just that thing. So even if you're making like a platformer, don't look up a platformer tutorial. Just look up like how to do movement or how to do input handling, right? Just look up a tutorial for that and get your character walking around, right? And then it's like, okay, then how do you make a character jump? Just look up a tutorial for that, right? It's like, just do little pieces, just kind of break the problem down and just do one step at a time. That might be a little bit easier to manage. I do have courses on Udemy as well. You can take a look. Character looks so sick. Wow, thank you, Raphael. Appreciate that. Bought a set of books off of Humble Bundle. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Monkey Software. Hello, Simon William Taylor. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. Good morning, Chris. Are there any plugins you use in Godot? Not really, no. I have a couple of plugins that I made for myself, but they're not publicly available, really. And they're not like generally applicable. Like I have a plugin to generate translations, but that translation generator is not like, it's not a generic framework. It's like, it actually contains very specific logic to how my game is structured. So it would be next to useless to open source that and say, here, pull this in your project. Now, I think it would be useful to show it to give people ideas for how to do their own translation systems, but JSON, yeah. I've personally now tried migrating from my last project that I made in Godot 3.6 to learn a new 4.6 version. It has been rough. Yeah, the upgrade to 4.0 was rough when I was doing Gunforged because there was a lot of C# changes. So it took me quite a while to upgrade everything. You can buy Firebelly's courses, yeah. I have 3 plugins that I made myself for my own use. 2, only one of them I thought of publishing, yeah. Sometimes you just need an editor tool very specific to your project. Let me make sure that this is good now. Yeah. Now I kind of want to fix this one. So we'll just go through all the characters and add character Potion Man. So it should be easy for the rest of these because I just need to do that basically. Oh, it's animating, so it's gonna generate, okay. I guess I need to disable this. Change to the reset. Oh, I need to disable the animation tree. I'm gonna forget to reset all this, I think. Generate the bounding box, turn this back on, and actually I need to do the same for the lich before I forget. Okay. The necromancer is fine, priestess. Okay. Let's turn off active, reset. Okay. Turn the animation tree back on. Okay. And then character skeleton. Same deal here. Reset. Character bounding box, generate, turn the animation tree back on. Okay. So now when I'm doing the selectable character, let's see. I think these all extend. Let's make this rect to get bounding box. And then I can do, let's see, node private character bounding box component. I will add public rect to get bounding box. Okay, and then we'll do public. Okay, so we're going to make that change to all of them. Okay, one more. Okay, so now we go to the selectable character, and instead of the bounding box, we just do get bounding box. Two characters seen as I character. Let's just do this. If not character, if character is not I character, character interface. Okay, that should be safe, but it doesn't hurt to be a little bit defensive. Okay, and now let's go to the character bounding box, and I just want to make sure... No, actually, let's go to a selectable character. Okay, all right, let's see. Hello, Tan Talking. Welcome, welcome. What plugins do we use in VS Code? Oh, I think all that is working. Very cool. The plugins I use in VS Code, I mean, it's just the normal stuff. I've got the C# and .NET stuff, C# Dev Kit. I've got Claude, Dracula theme. I've got some stuff that I don't really use anymore for JavaScript development. Godot.NET tools, Godot tools. Live server, I really don't use live server. Actually, I'm going to uninstall this. Basically just themes. I got To-Do Tree. To-Do Tree is probably the one that I have that's worth mentioning. It basically just allows you to see all of your to-dos across your code base in a nice tree form. But yeah, I don't really have that much. I mean, it's not... I basically just install things as I need them. Hello, Bujo. Do you have any advice on to keep myself coding? I'm reworking a spell system, but just thinking of the structure makes my brain grind to a halt. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. The problem with like I don't know if I have any advice for that specifically because I've just like I've always enjoyed programming, so it's like I've never had to like go through the process of like, trying to make myself continue to do the work. With game development, like game development as a whole, yeah, there are parts where it's not super fun, but the coding specifically of like, I haven't had much of a problem with that. So I don't really know. Keep myself coding. I mean, if the problem is just too hard, then maybe you just need to break down the problem even more. Like maybe you're getting lost because it's just a complex, big problem. So maybe just breaking down the problem more, taking tiny steps toward a goal. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can really say anything helpful there. I don't have any particularly good insight for that question. I'm sorry. It's VS Code. Yes, it is VS Code. To-do tree. Yes, indeed. Like to make a visual drawing of complex systems to help me through the coding process. Yeah, like whiteboarding can help. For sure. Do you watch anime? I don't. I don't watch anime. I don't watch TV, generally speaking. If I'm going to watch something, it's going to be a movie because it's a nice, like, standalone experience and I don't have to, like, dedicate myself to, like, 24 hours of content to get the full story. So I typically don't watch TV shows. Just feels like such a big commitment, It's like, oh, started watching Game of Thrones, now I gotta watch the whole 500 seasons. Why don't you use AI to code? I mean, I do in very certain circumstances, but I don't have the AI write all my code for the simple reason that I need to understand what the code base is doing. Having the AI write your code is equivalent of like having somebody else write the code and hand it off to you. And then it's like, if there ever is a problem, or if I ever do need to go in and change something, or if I need to have an understanding of how the code works, it's going to be a lot harder if it was written by somebody else than if it was written by me. So like the process of writing code is like, yeah, it's a little bit tedious, but I think the main benefit of continuing to write your own code, even though we have AI tools to do it, is that it's a way of committing the code to memory, right? Like working through the problems yourself is the way that you commit how your code base works to your memory. And so, like, look, I'll have the AI do like the rote stuff. Like once I've already solved a problem and it just needs to like, I just need to update like 100 files, then yeah, I'll have the AI do that because that's like, it's not going to do anything that I wasn't going to do by hand anyway. But when it comes to like designing the more complex things or setting up my scenes and everything, I think it's more important for me to have the knowledge of how the code works than it is to get the code done as quickly as possible. So it's a trade-off, It's a trade-off. Also, I mean, the LLMs are impressive, but they're still not that impressive. Like, they still do things sometimes where I'm like, why would you do it that way? Like, there are multiple times where I'm like using the AI to plan something and it suggests doing something. I'm like, why are you doing it that way? Wouldn't it be easier to just like do X, Y, and Z? And then it goes, oh, you're right. That's much more elegant. It's like, well, if that's much more elegant, why am I even interacting with you in the first place? Anyway. Okay. What was I gonna do? So I finished that. I need to change the label positioning now. You mentioned wanting to make a 3D game before. Wouldn't that considerably slow you down as a solo dev? How are you factoring that in? Yeah, so I would do like baby steps into 3D for sure. Like I wouldn't try to make like these grand like open world environments or whatever. I would basically take the skills that I have, which is pixel art. I would use that for texturing. So everything would still be like a pixel art aesthetic. Probably low poly. So that way, if I go and make my own models, I can do that pretty quickly. once I learn Blender or whatever, of course. And then I would try to make it like very minimal in terms of like the visual aesthetic. Probably, I mean, I have an idea in mind that I want to prototype after Alchemortis is done. That would be a 3D game. But the way I'm envisioning it is that it would be very, like a lot of the lighting and post-processing would be doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of the visual component of it. And then like there would be not a whole lot of like texture and prop work to do. So yeah, I mean, it is, yeah, it does increase the workload a lot, but I would just take like baby steps into 3D. I would just do something relatively small, hopefully. I think it's because you prioritize coding just like me, for real. Yeah. I love arguing with LLMs, yeah. They're really good for like, I mean, you know, they are basically like just a very intelligent rubber duck. So like if you're stuck on a problem, it's good to like just get like an AI to analyze it, to suggest things or whatever. But you know, typically I don't use whatever the AI's like first suggestion is. It takes a couple of like back and forths to be like, well, I don't like that you did this, we should do this instead, and blah blah blah. But it's really good for like coming up with the plans, like implementation plans and thinking through things. Okay, I need to change this name label here. Can I just change the custom minimum size here to 20, maybe 24? And then the text. Okay. That's a little bit hacky, but that's all right. So here's another problem, the necromancer text. The necromancer text shows up behind the priestess. I mean, I can fix that for now, I think. Just bump up that angle there. Okay, that should be fine for now, I guess. Nope, it still didn't work. The bounding boxes are okay now, so I don't need to see those anymore. What am I going to do about this? I mean, I guess I could just do this again. AIs tend to forget to do dry coding basically every single time, so you can end up with duplicated code sometimes when using them. Yeah, that happens too. What I found is if I argue to a point for a couple rounds, it means I need to change my approach to the problem. Yeah. Okay, let's see how this one looks. All right, well, that's fine for now. This is not gonna work when I add a 6th character, but it's okay for now. I can even move this character staging marker down just a little bit. Okay. Okay, that works fine, I guess. The scene reminds me of Diablo 2 character selection. Awesome. Good. Nothing beats my computer just randomly restarting itself. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. All right. So here's what we'll do then now. My next major goal is to playtest the game quite a bit. I think everything... Oh, I need to add an unlock condition for the Lich. Well, I can do that later. Let's do some playtesting of the game, because I've changed a bunch of how a lot of stuff works. And I think I need to probably... Well, I need to playtest it myself before I send it off to you guys to playtest. So yeah, we'll take probably the remainder of the stream just to playtest the game and see how it feels, and I'll probably just take a bunch of notes. I'll even just get this ready preemptively. So I'll take a bunch of notes as I'm playing about things that need to change, and then I'll just do several rounds of that before the next playtest is available. I think we're approaching being able to do the next playtest relatively soon. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to get everything set up for that. I'm also going to turn on the sound effects for the game and the music. So I'll get rid of the background music on the stream, and then we can just listen to the sound effects and music from the game itself. But let's see. Hello, I can't speak your language, but welcome. Do you have a release date in mind? Yeah, I do, but I can't commit to that release date. But it's going to be before the end of the year for sure. So we'll see. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. When I come back, we can get all the sound effects configured properly, and we'll do a play test, and we can just chat and hang out as I'm playing Alchemorta, so you can all see what the current version of the game looks like, and we'll go from there. So I'll be right back in just 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Hello, Wooius, welcome back. Who is the new character? I'll show you really quick. I gotta get my headphones on. Go away, cat. Go away, cat. Okay, let's see. The new character is the Lich here. The Lich has a couple of different starting artifacts, which are based on gaining and spending resurrection stones. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, it turned out pretty good, I think. But I did a more in-depth showcase of that guy at the beginning of the stream, so you can go back and watch that if you want to. Anyway, bear with me for a second. I'm going to, let's see, close this. All right, so the background music is gone. I'm going to need to update. Turn this off, turn that on. Okay. I just got to get everything set up properly for this. So game debug fog reveal radius 0. Okay. We're not going to skip the menu. We will suppress the tutorial. We'll not show that. Don't mute music, don't mute sound effects. Don't ignore the save file, don't ignore unlocks. The character ID needs to be cleared out as well. Player board dimensions. I think we're good. Okay. And then I want to clear my save data as well. Okay, we're starting brand new fresh. And there's no audio. Oh, the clear save data doesn't clear the options. Okay. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay. Let me know how the audio is, if it's too loud or too quiet. I'm going to change the full screen. There we go. I need to rework that settings menu. It's not good at all, but that will come. Okay. All right. I haven't seen the one down in the middle yet. What's his deal? Oh, well, maybe I'll leave that for you to discover during the playtest. How's the audio, everyone? Does it sound all right? I'll just go right into it and we'll see. Oh, this guy doesn't have an unlock condition. Okay. Just make sure the back button works. Be doing a little bit of a smoke test here, I suppose. All right, here we go. Alrighty. So my inventory's already set up for me now. There's an artifact there. Yeah, let's go this way. Contains a guaranteed ritual item, contains a guaranteed weapon item, damage. Let's just grab all 3 of these. Ooh. How's the audio? Is it too loud? Or is it good? Did I already start off with some alchemy? Audio is fine. Okay, good. All right, good. Syringe. Now I do have a chance to gain corruption here. This item will gain 2 abilities. Oh. Yeah, let's do that. Deal 3 damage and heal for the damage dealt. Nice. Put that there. Oh, that's a good one too. Oh wait, Skeleton Warrior is the same as this, but I can't fit it on the board, so that's good. Okay. Let's do enchant. Adds a minion tag. Echo. Oh my gosh, I already got Echo right off the rip. Already got a pretty powerful slime here. Let's go to Artifact. Ooh. Allied items with empty ability slots gain innate damage when spending a Resurrection Stone. Health is no longer restored after combat. Increases Fog of War reveal radius by 1. Let's just do that. I might, let me just pop over to my notes here. I'm realizing that I probably want a skip button for artifacts. I was thinking, you know, oh, the player's going to want to take an artifact. There's no need for a skip button, but that was almost a situation where I didn't want any of those artifacts. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's not correct. Oh, my tooltips are broken. Interesting. Why did that happen? Let me fix that. That's okay for now. I haven't done any combat yet. But it looks like there's plenty of combats coming up, so I'll just grab the booster. Poison. Let's just go more damage. So the way the boosters work now, just to reiterate, is the first booster gives you 5 options, but only allows you to choose 1. The second booster gives you 4 options, but only allows you to choose 2. And the third booster gives you 3 options, and you can take 3. So hopefully this booster rework is a little bit more interesting. My thought is that the first booster is going to be more useful if you're looking for a very specific kind of card, because you'll get more options. Whereas the booster that's sort of like just you only get 3 options, but then you get to take 3. That's good for like building up your roster, right? So that might be the option that you take early on when you just need to fill your inventory. But you might want to start taking the first booster when you just need like pulls at the slot machine, like you're trying to get a specific card. And so the more opportunities you have to do that, the more likely it is to happen. Let's see. 3 damage per allied minion item. I kind of want to YOLO this one with this one. Reduces the remaining cooldown of 1 random allied minion on the bottom edge of the board. Ah. Apply 4 poison to this item's cooldown is 3 seconds or greater. That's actually super strong though. Oh, I need to make the boosters. No, I can't. Never mind. I mean, that might... So the problem here is that I ideally don't want the rat to copy abilities from the booster items. But if I just straight up disable that, it's not going to get any of the artifact changes to it. So that's like all part of the same loop, like updating any abilities that will be added by artifacts, as well as any turn cooldown reduction updated by artifacts. That happens as part of like the update loop when the board state changes. So I need to like very specifically disable like updating based on like the cards on the board or the items on the board. I want to take the corpse pile actually. So I'm going to take the corpse pile. We're going to put these down here. Actually, we'll do that so it's guaranteed to hit the slime. Yeah. And then I don't have anything to work with the snail cat just yet. Okay, let's see. Snail cat this early is GG's, yeah. Hello, Sonia, welcome, welcome. Let's turn up the speed a little bit. Okay. Okay. A leech. Skull tower. We'll take that. Oh, am I gonna die? I already died. Okay. Let's alchemize these guys together. Ew. Oh, that's actually fine, but I wanted the armor on this. I kind of want to get rid of that poison ability, but I do have an extra empty ability slot on this on this guy. Let's see. I would like to get that passive ability on the slime here. Let's see if I can do that. Yes. Oh, wait. Oh, it replaced two abilities. What got replaced? Oh, the paralysis got replaced. I guess that's fine. So this has a 4.7 second cooldown, which gets reduced by 3 when the corpse pile goes. Ooh, actually the snail cat is not too bad here either. Paralyze, damage and heal. This has a higher crit multiplier. I don't know. Is that going to be useful? Actually, this has a higher turn cooldown, but it has a higher crit multiplier. I'm wondering if that's going to be more useful than this guy here. Oh, this has echo on it though. Yeah, never mind. I'm just going to keep this for now. Okay. I should finish this because the enemy keeps their health, so. Forgot that replacing abilities is inevitable now. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think in the previous playtest. Okay, come on, Cat. Come on. In the previous playtest, I think the alchemy was a little bit too deterministic. So I kind of rolled back into a little bit more RNG this time around. But, you know, everything is subject to change, but heal for 0.5x of bleed stacks applied to enemies since last execution. Deal 10 damage every third execution. Deal damage equal to the damage dealt by this item in the previous 2 executions. Mosquito Swarm is actually pretty powerful. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Cleanse exhaust from one random adjacent allied item. If exhaust was cleansed, exhaust this item. 2 fire, 4 damage. Let's just take this one. Okay. And now we've got grow board. So this is another change. The grow board events are now in just in the middle of the map, so they're a lot more predictable. So your board size power is less, it's less about randomness, it's more about it's deterministic now, basically. So hopefully that helps with some of the RNG, being at the mercy of the RNG, I should say. See, now I want to keep this armor because I feel like that was useful, but I also want to put the snail cat here. What are you doing, Azir? What are you doing? Dang cat. I should probably keep the armor. We'll just throw these guys on it. We have a lot of, like, the slime kind of propagated its abilities across. Okay. I think what I want, I kind of want the enchant, but I also want the health increase. I think what I'll do is I'll go, let's see. I'll go this way, and then I'll hit that and the health. That tooltip is annoying me, the fact that it's not working. So that's a problem. The problem there is that that enemy board is generated without damage, and it had a lot of healing and stuff. So there's two ways to fix that. One is to make sure that enemy boards generate with an appropriate amount of damage. But I kind of like the idea of like having an enemy board which is just like healing and shielding. Like, I feel like that should be a viable build for the enemies as well. The problem is there's no mechanic that allows an enemy to outlast the player. So I almost wonder if I should make, I mean, this was suggested by a lot of you a while ago, but I almost wonder if I should make Necrosis affect the player as well. So Necrosis is that mechanic that just prevents the combat from being soft-locked. Basically, if the combat goes on long enough, it just starts applying this, like, unblockable, ever-increasing damage over time that eventually kills the enemy. But it doesn't apply to the player. So that was originally designed to make it so that players could do purely defensive builds and outlast the enemy. But the problem now is that if the enemy has a purely defensive build, it's just like an automatic victory. Like there's no challenge there. The problem with making Necrosis apply to the player as well is if the player is running a purely defensive build and they go up against an enemy board, which is a purely defensive build, then the player would just lose. So it would almost be the case that if I made necrosis affect the player as well, I would basically be forcing the player to have at least some damage that they could knock the enemy health down, so that when the necrosis kicks in, the enemy dies before the player dies. I don't know what to do about that. I think it should be viable to have enemy stall builds, and then necrosis mechanic should apply both ways. That's what I'm thinking too. I just don't know how do I keep enabling the player to have purely defensive builds in that situation. I mean, one way is to have the necrosis apply later to the player. Oh great, my landscaper is here. No, yard machines. How are you making sound effects? I can show you. So I have an app called Asset Horde. So I'm basically just using the Sonus GDC audio bundles, and I have a big library of sound effects. Just a big library of sound effects. This says that there's 170,000 files. And basically I just go through here and I search and I go like energy. And then I'll just like click through here and play these things. And sometimes I'll find a sound that I can just drag and drop into the game, and that's what I use. And other times I will take, 2 or 3 or 4 of these and layer them and mix them in like Audacity and then export that sound effect. But I'm not like making the sound effects from scratch. I'm just either mixing them together or just taking them right out of that library. They sound so good. Are they free? Yes, they are free. I'll put it in the chat. SONNISS GDC audio bundle. So this is like several hundred, or not several hundred, but like over 100 gigabytes of sound effects, and they're all royalty free to use in unlimited commercial projects. So I'd recommend grabbing those, stashing them somewhere on a hard drive somewhere, and then you always have like, I mean, it's a much nicer experience than like trying to go to like free sound or whatever. Plus the problem on like getting sounds online is you never know if they're like truly royalty free or if somebody just like stole it from somewhere and uploaded it and said it was royalty free. So I try to stay away from like free sound kind of sites because I just don't trust the license that's there. But Sonus GDC is like the Sonus, the audio company. They're actually in the business of selling sound effects libraries, so I trust that a lot more. And then of course, like itch.io has a bunch of like sound effects packs that are created by people that you can purchase or download for cheap and whatnot. So I already don't think it's possible to have a purely defensive player build as it stands, at least during the last playtest. When I tried, I had to still use fire to generate enough shield with some healing to deal with the holy damage. Yeah, so I think you're right. I think that's true. That's not really supported right now, but I want to make that supported. So that is a build that I want to make viable by the introduction of new items and also making sure that all the game mechanics, like the necrosis, allow for that to happen. I just don't think I have a whole lot of things that scale based off of healing or based off of armor. So I think I would need to address that. Worth mentioning, they have yearly different releases that are all different. Yeah. By the way, your game looks amazing. Can I playtest it? Yes, you'll be able to playtest it in the near future. When I do a playtest, Patreon members get access to the playtest first, and then the playtest is open to everyone after that. So you'll definitely be able to try it out. What's the software name again? I think the last time you were using another one. This one is called Asset Horde. I'll put that in chat as well. Oops. So Asset Hoard, at least for now, is free. It does say that it will require a one-time paid license for it. But I was giving it a try, and the initial version that I tried for sound effects wasn't that good because there was no quick play button here. So what you had to do is you had to like double click it, open this dialogue, and then you had to like close that and then double click another one. And that was just a very annoying thing. So I actually emailed the creator and I said, hey, this app is great. However, trying to find sound effects is kind of annoying because I have to do so many clicks just to preview the sound effect. And so I said, if you could just like click on the thumbnail to play it, that would be so awesome. And then like a week later, he emails me back and said, I just updated Asset Forge with that feature. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. And it's like perfect now. I mean, there's still something. I don't want to be like this annoying customer who's like, you should change this and change that. But anyway, so positive experiences so far with this app, but you know, it will become paid in the future. And you know, there are all kinds of horror stories about things that happen when like apps like this go paid and whatnot. So I'm recommending it for now while it's free, but I don't know if I'll keep using it into the future. We'll see. Deal damage equal to armor damage dealt. Deal 12 true damage if there's at least one allied fungus item. Ooh. Let's see what I can do here. I don't really think this skeleton warrior is doing much. Can I fit these? This 12 true damage is nothing to shake a stick at. And I've got a swarm ability here. Let's do this. Well, I want to get the morale on here. If I could get this swarm onto this skeleton warrior. Should I YOLO it? I'm gonna YOLO it. No, I got it. Holy macaronis. Okay. This is gonna be nutty, fam. So I've got this guy dealing 12 true damage now. This probably can be a little bit placed a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. This one is still going to be... Actually, I probably want that to... Shoot. I want the corpse pile to only target the skeleton warrior, but I've still got 2 minions here. Is there no way to make this work? If I move the corpse pile here and swap that guy around. Yeah. And then morale here. There we go. That's what I call optimization. So now this corpse pile should only be targeting this skeleton warrior. Oh, I'm going to be doing damage. That was pretty lucky, actually. Okay, I want the health. And he's also applying bleed, so that's going to be cool. Contains a guaranteed bleed item, passive, weapon. Let's do bleed here. Okay, take the scythe. I don't need this one. We'll throw that away. Do I want that? I need my board to be a little bit bigger. I think this one would actually be... I could transition into a bleed build pretty easily because this guy's very powerful. Wait, why is the tooltip for this guy not showing up? Why does this guy not have a tooltip? Huh? What? Okay. Well, I hope my save system works. Okay, now it shows up. Why did that happen? I have no idea. I mean, I'll write it down. I don't know. Good thing my save system works, though. That would have sucked to lose my progress. Okay. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, it is. Hello, V. Yeah, we're doing playtesting right now. Let's just take the big health upgrade. Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, that's an obelisk. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go this way because that's a lot of combat. Let's go to the obelisk. Thank you, New Jank, for the raid with 11 viewers. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Rig Dev. Good to see you guys. Right now, I'm just playtesting my in-development game, Alchemortis. So come on in if you want to see what the game's about. For anyone that's new here as the result of the raid, Alchemortis is a dark fantasy roguelite auto-battler where you can use this alchemy system to mix and match abilities and items to create your own builds and synergies. You can check out the Steam page that's linked below if you're interested. From a more technical standpoint, I'm developing this myself. All the art you see on screen was drawn by me. So yeah, welcome everybody. We're just in the middle of a play test, like I said. So I made a bunch of changes to the game recently, so I'm just kind of like going through it myself and seeing how it feels. It's going well. How are you doing? Play this game or else you'll be visited by a certain snail cat. Love the art style. Thank you. All right, let's see what happens. Oh my gosh. I got some lucky alchemies recently, so that's kind of powerful. If there is an adjacent alchemical item, gain 50% critical chance and 0.5x multiplier. I have a corpse pile? That's alchemical. 25% chance to apply paralysis, deal 9 damage. I kind of want to... Let me think. I don't need the frog. We'll get rid of that. I'm not going to use that. We'll get rid of that. We'll grab the zombie. That's fine. Ooh, there's an artifact. Oh, but there's a shop there. And there's a long string of combat here for getting blood if I go to the shop. Shoot. How much money do I have? 14. Do I grab the health and the obelisk and the artifact? Or do I go to the shop? The shop is calling to me. I'm going to go to the shop. I have a pretty powerful build, so I think the risk that I die along the way here is pretty low. But I've been wrong before. Oh, yeah. Wow. What is doing so much damage here? Skeleton Warrior dealt, 15 crit. That's pretty good. Skeleton Warrior did 30 crit damage. Oh my gosh. Well, that explains that. And this is Swarm too, right? So wait. Oh yeah, I've got these Swarm cards feeding off of each other. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Okay. Projects to allied items on the left on the edge of the board to confuse random enemy. Reduces the remaining cooldown of allied relic and ritual items to the right by 1.2 seconds. Oh wait, that's an alchemical too. Oh, I see. Do I have room for this? I don't think so. I'm just gonna take it. I don't know. Maybe I can find a use for it later, but doing pretty good here. Awesome. Glad to hear it. The art style's nice. Thank you. It halves crit 0.5x or is it 1.5x? The alchemy card a few, or the enemy card a few battles back. So if it says increase by 0.5x, then it's like an additive multiplier. So like this has a 1.5x crit multiplier. If it adds 0.5, then it goes up to 2. But I could probably improve the wording. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty much unstoppable at this phase. Ooh, man-eating wasp. Projects to adjacent allied items with a poison ability, Echo. Oh, gosh, I'm not doing a poison build. Another crystal ball, lame. Let's get rid of this. We'll take the... I don't know, the man-eating wasp has a pretty high crit multiplier and crit chance, though. I do want to move into a bleed build, though. Eventually. Goodness gracious. Oh, Leviathan! What's up? I don't think I want to take it, though. Do I want to take it? No. Goodbye. All right. To the shop. Ooh. Alter to Growl. Deal 18 damage per exhausted allied item. Goodness. Critical chance increased by 0% whenever an allied item is paralyzed. Gain 2% additional critical chance. Heal 10. Prevents any damage from bypassing armor. Reagents. I don't have any upgraded cards. I could do reagents and the card upgrade. That might be what I do here, actually. All allied alchemical cards gain 4 heal. I've got 3 alchemical cards. That might actually be useful. Let's take that. So now I've got heal on all those alchemical items. I'm going to get the reagents as well, I think. Death Orchid. Items gain an additional 10% critical chance. So wait, I can do that right now. Let's see. Yeah, let's beef up this guy's critical chance. Actually, oh, it has a 49% chance to gain a corrupted ability, though. That's not good. Don't let Ninja Link hear you calling crystal balls lame, yeah. So there is one problem that I'm noticing here, which is that... Oops. I'm not super confident to engage in alchemy, but that would have been the same... Like, I've got a bunch of powerful abilities. I've got some abilities that I want to replace, but... Like here, the Beast Claw... I wanted to increase this guy's critical chance here, but the problem is I've got a pretty high chance of gaining a corrupted ability. So I think I would need to get a couple of additional reagents that I could put in with it to get that chance down. Anyway, I can do the card upgrade now. Wait, I have this in the wrong order. There we go. Okay, we'll upgrade this guy. Okay. Bleed, let's go. Say what? Yeah. All right, bleed, another scythe. But that's an up... Oh, no, they're both tier 2. I'm gonna get rid of the snail cat. Grab the scythe again. Okay. All right, into the boss fight. The Stone of the Ancients, nice. Yeah, that one is good on certain builds for sure. Oh, my Alt key is not working. Alt is supposed to... Oh, no, it's working now. It's supposed to hide the tooltips. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm pretty strong. I'm pretty strong. Soul of Mayor Albrecht. Adds the following ability to allied items innate. Apply 20 armor. I could do that on the... Let me think. Is this guy really doing that much? I need to rework this combat log so I can actually see. I don't think the slime is doing that much, honestly. I think this guy is doing all the work. So what I could do is I could use the slime. Actually, oh shoot. What do I want to do? I could use the slime as a receptacle for this. Armor. Apply 20 armor if 25 or more damage was taken. I don't know why, but the music here reminds me of Spooky's Haunted Mansion. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I don't know. Okay. I'm trying to morph into a bleed build here. Let's do this. Let's take... I need to make some room on the board, though. Goodbye, zombie. Grab this. Okay. So we do that. I'm going to do that with a scythe. 15% chance to gain a corrupted ability. YOLO. It got a corrupted ability. Are you kidding me? Projects to one random enemy item echo. And it lost its bleed too. Well, that sucks. Well, I guess I'll hold on to it for a little bit. Let's see. Let's do this with the mosquito swarm. This item will gain 2 abilities and will have 2 abilities replaced. No, that's not what I want either, because that's going to replace the bleed. Although, this has a higher bleed on it. And it's got the swarm too. Okay, we're going to YOLO mode this one. Here we go. Ooh, 6 bleed and the swarm damage. Oh, this is nutty. This is nutty. We'll put this here. Relic and ritual items. I want to put this in the board, but that's all right. We'll just put this here. That'll give me some extra defense. I've got a free slot here. Maybe I can get... Oh, let's put this back. Maybe I'll just get a different item or a different ability on this crystal ball here. This, it would be useless to alchemize because none of these abilities can be transferred to other items in the alchemy, so... I mean, I might as well just do this with this again. Let's see what I get on the crystal. Ooh! Oh, they're both corrupted. Well, that's useless. Apply 20% blind to this item. Okay, well... I think my my attempt at nerfing 1-by-1 items was very successful. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Okay, well, it's a good thing. Okay, good. So one problem is I feel like the board size increases are still not coming quite fast enough. Anyway, let's go here. Swaps the cooldowns of the left and right adjacent items. That's good. All armor abilities of adjacent items are preserved. Increases alchemy board size temporarily. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Can I do this? Yes. We're gonna swap the corpse pile with the mausoleum key. Oh, still a 44% chance. We could use this as alchemy fodder. 28% chance. This item will have one ability replaced. Yeah, see, the problem is I don't want to do that because I could get rid of that cooldown ability. I think the alchemy still needs some work. Push the tooltips so they start rendering outside the backpack. I can't do that. They're always going to cover something important. I mean, I could do that. The problem is the board size can increase to the point where there is no place to put the tooltip. And the other problem is, like, it's always going to cover something important. So as a compromise, you can hold Alt to hide the tooltips. Oh, did I just reproduce the issue? The tooltip on this guy disappeared as well. Bosses don't give board size increases anymore. They do not, no. But I might reintroduce that. So the problem is, if each region gives you a board size increase and then 2 bosses, that's 5 board size increases. That's probably good. Maybe I should just put the board size increase back to the boss. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. There's a problem with alchemy, though, which is that... Oh, there's an error here. problem with alchemy is like I wanted to use the fairy wings here to swap the cooldown of this item and this item. The problem though is that it's going to randomize an ability. It will replace one ability. The main problem here is like I would be okay if the poison ability got replaced because I don't really want that anymore. But like, I just want to be able to do this, right? Like, I want to be able to swap this because I was like, oh, this would be so cool. I can make the corpse pile have a lower cooldown. And then that would be dope for triggering this skeleton warrior. But it's too risky to do that because I might replace the cooldown reduction ability accidentally. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what should I do about that? Like, because the alchemy does need to be a risk-reward situation. Like, it's felt good in a lot of cases, like, hitting just the right, you know, alchemy output that makes my build super strong. But at the same time, like, I'm not able to do things that I want to do like this, you know, without it being too risky. Because it both has a chance to gain a corrupted ability, but it also has a chance to just outright replace the one ability I want to keep. What do I do about that? It's going well, Artem. How are you doing? I think it works well when trying to make cards with certain abilities, but it actually makes the reagent side of it worse in many regards. Yeah. That's why I'm like, some ideas are going through my head, like, well, what if I have to quit to menu because this tooltip keeps disappearing. What if So there's a couple things I'm thinking of. I could, in the alchemy system, I could actually like specifically note which abilities are going to be replaced so you have more information as a player. That would not make it less risky, but it would make your decision more informed, right? So if you know ahead of time, like not necessarily what the ability is going to change to, but if you know which ability is going to be replaced on this item, that may help for decision making because it reduces a lot of the uncertainty while still maintaining the like randomness of like, I don't know for sure what this ability is going to become. But for example, if I was looking at this and it said, let's put the mausoleum key here. If I was looking at this and it said, oh, the poison ability is going to be replaced, I'd be like, okay, great, that's fine. Like, I'm not interested in that ability. I just want to keep the cooldown reduction ability. That would help a lot. So I wonder if I should do something like that. But also, with respect to reagents, I'm wondering if I should just remove the corruption penalty if there's a reagent in the board, right? So if you want to just do a very tailored, like, reagent-based alchemy here, I could make it so that reagents just completely remove the corrupted chance. And that would reduce the risk there as well. So I'm wondering, would those two changes by themselves, would that tilt this operation more in my favor then? So if I came in here and I knew that alchemy just completely removed the corrupted ability chance, and I was able to see that the poison ability was going to be replaced here, that would be an easy decision to make now. Now I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can do that, right? But the fact that I don't know what ability is going to be replaced, and I also have an almost 50% chance of one of the abilities being replaced with a negative ability, that just makes it so risky that I'm like, I can't do that. Because this is critical to my build, right? Like this one ability on this corpse pile. So yeah, I don't know. There's something needs to change there, I think. IDK how hard it is to implement, but maybe a legendary card that has a skill to attach a card that is adjacent. But outside the board size, so not necessarily bigger board, but just attach more card. That is an interesting idea for sure. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'd have to think about that a little bit. Let's try the Resurrection Stone. Okay, so I can sacrifice cards. I feel like the tooltips are weird sometimes. See, my tooltip keeps disappearing for some items. Why does that happen? So now I've got a Resurrection Stone. Go this way. It looks like these boards are starting to get harder too. Ooh. Wow. That's a good one. All poison applied. Increased critical chance. Why does my tooltip keep disappearing? Okay, I don't know why that's happening. That's weird. We'll figure it out, I suppose. Oh my gosh, this one deals 26 damage. I forgot about that. Oh my gosh. I almost died, but we didn't die. See, why is this happening? This is like... And then the tooltip doesn't appear. So there's something wrong about this. Why did this happen recently? My tooltips were rock solid before. What did I change? I'm gonna have to figure that out. I don't know what's going on there. At least the bug is frequent and repeatable. Yeah. I wish I could figure out... Like, it seems to be like when I start dragging a card, sometimes that happens. Deal 12 damage, deal 4 additional damage for each adjacent empty grid cell. Okay. It's got 347 health, though. Let's see. Oh. I'm starting to lose. Okay, let's grab the artifact. Bleed deals 1 additional damage per consumed stack. Yes, please, thank you. I don't really want boosters. I'm just gonna go to the combat here. Wonder if the enemy health club should be a different color. It could be. Like, the problem is I only have 8 colors to work with. I will say, though, of all the changes that I've made, I feel like the combat balance is pretty darn good now. Because, like, if I didn't have this build set up, like, if this build was, like, 20% weaker, I would not be getting past these combat encounters. But at the same time, I feel like I have plenty of opportunities to even min-max this build even further. The problem, the thing that's standing in the way is the alchemy. Like, the only way to min-max this board is to engage with the alchemy, but right now the incentives are like aligned against me where I feel like it's too dangerous to do that still. So if I can bring the alchemy a little bit more in line or more into like the player's favor, especially when you've got like these build defining items where you just can't afford to lose an ability, if I can fix that, then I think it's gonna be good. The problem with the board size increases though, like board size increase has always been a problem because that just gives you raw power, right? Like you could just increase the board size and just throw a bunch of items on the board and that just automatically increases your power. So there needs to be a scarcity with respect to your board size so that you're forced to min-max what you have currently. And I think that's working to a large extent. It's just, it feels a little bit too restrictive now. Like I don't have enough board space to use bigger items, for example. Like if, like I could try to use this mosquito swarm, but I'd have to get rid of like a lot of items that are actually critical to my build right now. So yeah, there's some things that need to be done here. Like I would love to use this altar item, but it's just not, it's not going to fit on my board, and it's not gonna, it doesn't offer enough power to make that viable. Nice work, man. Built in public. Is there a demo so we could cry about issues better? There's no demo, but a playtest will be coming up in the near future, which will, again, it'll be open to Patreon members first. So the way that I typically do the playtest is 1 week of Patreon member exclusive access, and then it opens up to the public for a week after that. And so if you want to join the Discord, I will be announcing there and other places through the email list, etc. I'll be announcing when that playtest goes live for both Patreon members and the general public, and then the Discord is the place where you can offer your feedback as well. So maybe increase board size, but the tile has different properties that might risk your cards becoming corrupted or destroyed, or simply tile has some requirement. Yeah, that's an interesting idea too. It's been a long time. What is the current balancing of alchemy? Long time ago, it used to be straight built, buffed any card. Basically, I guess you did a heavy balance pass. Yeah, the alchemy system has been reworked quite substantially many times, actually. It's a little bit more complicated, but basically there's ability slots now, and so items can have a max number of abilities on them. And then the alchemy system also has a chance to give you corrupted abilities, which are basically debuff abilities. I'm trying to think of what I want to do here. If you know when the players are getting board size upgrades, can't you just scale the enemies a bit more at that point so the player needs to be a little bit more strategic? Yeah, I can definitely do that. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely do that. The old negative ability system, kind of. So it is the old negative abilities, basically, but the thing is, the corrupted abilities are functionally innate, which means that they can't be transferred to other items, and they can't be removed by normal means either. So once you get a corrupted ability, it takes up an ability slot, and it can't be removed unless you get special reagents to remove it. So I would love to put this... Oh wait, no I wouldn't. Let me think. I don't think there's a way to fit that one on there. Let's sell this scythe. Sell the Death Orchid. This adds echo to one random enemy item, but this also has a lot of bleed. Oh, this has the swarm on it too. Oh, man. Yeah, I think this is going to work. That corrupted ability is a little bit annoying, but I think it'll be okay. All right, let's see what happens. Let's go fight this guy. Is there any formation combo, like more than 3 cards have some family or some sorts and can be arranged in some way? Yeah, I mean, the whole game is about establishing synergies. So like you'll have certain items that scale based off of like the weapon cards that are in the vicinity or the alchemical cards or whatever. So yeah, there's definitely like, but it's all powered by the abilities. Like whatever abilities exist on the item is like what you build around, right? So for example, this Morel projects to adjacent allied items heal 2. So that means that any adjacent allied item will get a heal 2 ability when this Morel executes. And so obviously the way to min-max that is to try to make 4 items adjacent to the Morel, right? Because that will max out the healing. In this case, I haven't quite maxed it out because there's nowhere to put it other than here. But yeah, that's basically how the game works. Like the abilities kind of like describe what the synergies are, and it's up to you to like arrange your board to make the most use out of those abilities. That is quite harsh. Why is the corruption system needed? Playing around with the alchemy used to be the main fun in itemization. This seems to disincentivize it. So the corruption exists. The corruption system exists for a couple of reasons. Pair alchemy, which was alchemy where you just use 2 items at once, was far too strong because you were getting very, very targeted results. And that was not what I wanted. Like the whole point of alchemy is you throw a bunch of things in the pot and see what comes out. But the main way to play it was just to put 2 items in at a time and click the button. So the corruption system is designed to disincentivize that. But also the corruption system is like ideally it would be designed such that you can like jujitsu it, like you can use those to your advantage. Like there's even a card now in the game which scales based off of the number of corrupted abilities that you have. So the idea is that these are not necessarily always going to be just purely negatives. These are going to have debuffs which you may be able to work around or leverage to your advantage. So yeah, the problem with alchemy, like if it doesn't have any negative downsides, the problem is you actually get downsides that get built to the more items you throw into it because it adds more abilities to the pool of potential abilities that can be chosen. And that's not what you want as a player, right? You want to like get the ability that you want on this item. So the problem is like, how do I incentivize players to use more abilities at once or use more reagents at once, etc.? So yeah, I mean, but everything can be tweaked. Thank you, Slamu, for the Prime subscription. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Hello, Fugurebel. Sorry for my English, I love your work, but I have a question. Have you successfully making game dev your main job? Successfully, no. I mean, I'm not making a profit doing this. Like, I'm not making money doing this. So we'll see what happens with Alchemortis if that changes. But if it doesn't change, then I'll have to go get an actual real job. So we'll see. We'll see. Hello, Mark. Good morning. All right. Well, unfortunately, I have to end the playtest there because I have a meeting to get to in just a couple minutes here. But I think I got a lot of good insights out of doing that playtest. I think overall, what I would say is that all the changes that I've made feel pretty good. I need to focus on making like a fire and a poison build because those were massive changes to how those work. So I need to see how those feel specifically. But I think generally speaking, the game is feeling pretty good. Aside from, all these notes that I've taken. Using the item pairs used to be the main way of doing alchemy. What about items being alchemizable only once? This way, if you fail to fill the affixes, you are losing power. I think so. I've gone through like many iterations of thinking like how to get alchemy working properly. I'm pretty sure that was one of those things that I considered, but it's one of those things where like I've done so many iterations of alchemy and so much thinking about like how to fix that like I don't remember exactly why I didn't do X, Y, or Z thing. I just remember that I tried it and it didn't work, right? So there was some reason I did consider making items only alchemizable once, but there was some reason why I didn't. I mean, the obvious problem there is like I have no way of developing my build, right? Like I basically have to one shot the perfect item first, and then I'm stuck with that item. And if I don't one shot the item into exactly what I need, then it's like it's going to be useless, right? So like the whole point of this game is like I want players to continue to feel comfortable using alchemy and use the alchemy as a way of continually refining your build. Like this is not a game where you're going to be like swapping your entire build out all the time, right? It's more so like you start developing a build gradually in the first region, depending on what you get, and like you make constant refinements to it. Like if you're doing a bleed build, then you just constantly work towards like making the bleed even more powerful and having more bleed and more damage and all that stuff. And if you can only alchemize an item once, then that adds too much chaos where like you can't actually like effectively focus on a build. So yeah, and the other problem, like the other problem too, is like large cards have been a consistent problem with the alchemy system where like they weren't attractive in a lot of cases to use because they took up way too much space. And if you had to one shot a whole large card with all these abilities, you would end up in a situation where maybe it's got a couple of abilities that are good, but then it takes up like half the board, and it's like, well, that's not very appealing, right? I'm just going to sell this thing. So there's a lot of features that are like in tension with each other, and it all like centers around the alchemy and how they work with alchemy. And so trying to figure out how to like get the alchemy into a situation where like it's making all these features work really nicely together is really hard, but I think it's getting there. In the end, you're the one that said, yeah, I know, I appreciate that for sure. These things are a lot of interlocking systems, yeah. That's the other thing too, like one change to alchemy can completely change how you play the game for the better or for the worse. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but anyway, maybe larger cards are harder to corrupt. That is true already. Yeah, yep, exactly. All right, anyway, I'm supposed to be at my meeting right now, so I'm going to hop off, but thank you everyone for watching. Check out the links in the description below for all the ways you could support my work. I will talk to you all later, and I hope you have a great day. All right, bye-bye.